Once I see that ring, I know that you're an engineer.
I've been on flights when somebody looked at you and said, "Oh, you're an engineer," or walk into a room where people spot it and say, "Oh," and that's usually the reaction. "Oh," or they would ask you, "What kind of engineer are you?" So I'm not sure if the O is that they're surprised that I am an engineer because they're expecting to run into a black engineer, or just the fact that as a person, oh, here's another engineer.
For me, it kind of started off with, like in high school, I was just always kind of good at math and science. That was, I guess you could say maybe a little bit auto, maybe I was a little bit nerdy, whatever, but that was kind of just always my skill base.
My parents were like, "Why don't you become a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer," right? So they would typically give you those three options.
My father was an engineering technician, and I grew up working with my father. In fact, I had my license as a refrigeration mechanic when I was only 14 years of age.
Nobody from the community actually realized, and probably because I didn't talk about it as much back then. Because myself, I didn't really realize the significance of it at the time.
There were very few African Nova Scotians, African Canadians in engineering, vastly underrepresented in this profession. And when I go to, in fact, I was the first African Canadian to be elected as the president of Engineering Society in Canada, I believe. Definitely in Nova Scotia, but pretty sure in Canada. And when I go to other provinces and see what's going on there, they're just not there. We're just not there.
The one black female engineer made me stand out.
And I was the only one in the class.
I had at least one professor who mid-class decided to single me out and say I don't know why you're here. Women shouldn't even be engineers.
There's pictures in the hallways about graduating classes and yearbooks and things like that. So, I started looking at the pictures on the wall and it's nobody that looks like me. I think a lot of people don't enter into professions or careers because they think, well, I can never do that. I can't do that. But if you know somebody else has done it, then it's been done before. So why couldn't it be done again?
I didn't know any engineers. And while I got lucky in my situation on being introed to it, if I hadn't, where would we be?
Being an engineer of African descent in Nova Scotia, I guess, provides them with yet another role model that they could see that it is possible for African Nova Scotians, people of African descent, to be engineers. We have all kinds of them in Africa and the Caribbean, where you find large numbers of black people. In Nova Scotia, with a smaller population of people of African descent, you would find smaller numbers.
You may know Barb Hamilton Hinch. She's a close family friend, and so she actually invited me to a open house at Tons or Sexton campus. And as they say, the rest is kind of history.
One of the key things is getting out there in front of people, especially young people, while they're in that decision-making mode, and hold workshops about what we do, because most young people don't even know what engineering is or what it is or what we do or that we even exist. First of all, I'll tell them that we exist and this is what we do and this is an option.
Everybody in engineering has to find some way to promote diversity.
There are multiple ways to approach the problem, but trying to find a way that will give you a good solution as quickly as possible really requires that you apply creative and innovative concepts.
There's so many things that contribute to new ideas. A person's language, a person's ethnicity, their ethics, their, how they grew up, where they grew up, how they see the world. All of that changes the way you design things.
Be willing to actually critically look at your hiring practices, because all of us, including me, I mean, all of us have innate biases in terms of what we look for when we hire an individual.
You don't have to look like the people around you in that office.
Look forward to actually mentoring someone. A great opportunity to meet them and actually see the world from their perspective.
As we get more and more diversity in engineering, we'll get more and more spectacular solutions to problems.
One of the things that I learned very early is that there's no room for self-doubt, okay? If you think you can do something, you can. If you think you can't do it, that also is true.
Just keep going. Be there. Be the person like us that's the brown person in the room, unapologetically, because we deserve it and we're capable, despite what some of these people think.
It's earned, and it can't be taken away from you.
It's in the blood.
Ignore the haters and revert back to number one, believe in yourself, because there's always going to be someone and multiple someones, and they don't matter. They're just the people that look at you after and say, oh, she proved me wrong.